get into the trade exception here, because this is where I think I'm not going to say confused, but this is where everybody wanted this thing to happen. Because
this will be what decides this debate.
But here's the thing. Right, it's less about that. I think everyone's like, oh, we got a trade exception. That means we're going to go get a star for all of this money.
Harden. Yeah.
And that's not what it means. It means realistically, you're going to dump something. And again, it's a $27 million trade exception. But Bobby, I think we can only use 21 or so million to stay under the tax. So you're looking at
it's 1920. Yeah.
Yeah. You're looking at a player in that range. So, but when you're trading just a trade exception for something, you're getting someone else's garbage, or someone else's. I'd like to clear this contract off my books. It doesn't have to be garbage, but somebody else is looking for flexibility somewhere and is willing to give you something for close to nothing. Obviously, you got to roll something else into it, but nothing of great value. But it doesn't mean you're going to go get a star. And in fact, it's very unlikely. The only way you do is if you roll other actual assets in with it to make money match. The problem is the Celtics don't have any real assets because they're out of trade. They're out of draft.
Exactly.
And at this point, everybody they need. You're not trading Jaylen Brown.
They don't have tradable assets.
You don't have a tradable asset anymore. So you really only have this money to play with, and low draft and nothing else in the future, your own draft picks. And that's it.
So let me get this straight.
To acquire a player that's probably filler at this point. And that's what it gets you.
I can't believe it.
Exactly.
So here comes the John 180 again. All of a sudden you view Miles Turner as something other than garbage coming in that you can reform. I don't want to say garbage because I don't think he's a garbage player. He's a good player. But
no, I think he's better than anything you'll get with the trade exception for this reason.
Possibly. I mean, there's not a ton of options out there in terms of what you could get that would be worth using this. A few of them, Aaron Gordon, I think would be intriguing.
But look at the names. Larry Nance, Evan Fournier. Gordon is intriguing for
No, there's not a ton of great names.
Terrence Ross, Thaddeus Young, JJ Redick, Josh Hart, Trevor Ariza, George Hill, Patty Mills, Rudy Gay, Eric.
I think this is exactly. See right here. No, those like 4 or 5 names you just said. I think realistically, that's as good as it gets, guys. Unless Danny rolls the dice, which I strongly advise against this. Rolls the dice and waits for the offseason, because then things could really pop up for the Celtics, or you end up with nothing, and the time goes and
but your
clock expires and you lose that exception. You lose that opportunity.
Yeah. I don't know what you roll the dice with.
Aaron Gordon's the guy to me. Orlando's in a bad spot. The East got tougher. They're going to be out of the playoffs this year. Their team's getting
address
expensive.
the wing position, please. So
who do the Celtics offer Orlando?
That's gonna be another key to the start of the season, is starting to work in these young players that couldn't get worked in last year and try to make something out of them. You're gonna have Aaron Naismith coming in and getting an opportunity early. Ton of the players like Tremont Waters and these other guys are gonna get time to play early this year. So that's another critical component to having Kemba early this year.
I'll ask you this: all of a sudden,
I don't hate the JJ idea either.
You have future picks too.
All of a sudden, Naismith is lighting it up to start the year. I can guarantee you there won't be one Celtics fan who will want to trade him for Aaron Gordon if that's the case. If you end up with the tradable asset, find me on that list somebody that you want to actually trade.
Exactly.
Oh, no, you're selling immediately, Jimmy. In your hypothetical, you're selling immediately. And I think Danny would do that.
For who? You're going to give up
I don't
on
know,
like
but
Aaron
would you get
the point you're trying to say is don't hold on to these guys.
All of a sudden, Nate Smith starts shooting like Klay
This is
Thompson,
such a reversal of what you guys were saying
trade
last segment.
No,
How is it a reversal?
Because you're saying Miles Turner comes in here and he's a whole new player. You're saying Aaron Gordon can't come in and become a high-level, maybe even all-star level player in the Stevens system? Like, it's the same exact conversation.
No, I'm saying
these great players.
Jalen and Jason Tatum, though?
I'm saying they can't get him. They can't get him.
Bobby, you didn't have to. Bobby, you didn't have to trade anyone to
Jimmy's
get Miles
point
Turner.
is,
I'm saying that. I agree with that, but I don't think that's what John and Jimmy are saying.
No, what Jimmy is saying makes perfect sense. So again, in order to get somebody,
that's clear.
You're going to need someone like Naismith or maybe Romeo when he comes back from injury.
And you do it. What we say all last year.
If those guys show value, you don't want to trade them anymore because they're cheap and they're yours. So now you don't want to fold them in.
Them.
So if they show value to be traded, then you don't want to trade them anymore, which means you don't actually have assets.
I disagree.
No, I think you sell. I think you do have assets.
Josue is so right here.
I think you sell because, like I said from the top, they're going for it right now, John.
Not for Gordon.
Gordon's an excellent player.
Not for Gordon.
That's what I mean.
That's one example.
I'm talking about the players on that list.
You can't even get Gordon without throwing in somebody else in here. You're not just getting him for dead money.
Oh, so now you're just protecting.
Yeah, but I don't know, John. If Neesmith goes off, you don't think that they would make that trade?
I'm saying if he goes off, you're going to be like, thank God we hit with a rookie, and they're going to keep him and hold him and cherish him and be like, thank God. You're never going to.
We got one.
We got one. Imagine if
I'm not on that boat. I sell. You sell.
Let's pretend they had Tyler Hero. Would they trade him for friggin' Aaron Gordon?
It's a different conversation. Hero's looking like an all-star player.
To the point where you're like, we got something.
All right,
here.
so there's somewhere in between
trading him.
There's somewhere in between Romeo Langford's last season and what Tyler Hero did last year. Like those are two extremes.
If they flash and show that, you're never going to trade them for something that's like kind of somebody else's used leftovers. You're not doing that. You're going to be thrilled that you have somebody available cheap here.
In that example, it would have to happen in the off season. It would have to be somebody that we're not even talking about right now.
I know, but that's the thing. It's so risky, Jimmy. But at the same time, though, it's not that risky because this is a full calendar year later, right? So we're not talking about July and
August when this thing expires.
Yeah, it'll expire at the end of the summer or even in the fall. So Danny will have himself some time, but he's going to get that uneasy feeling, and that's going to work against him. Teams, possible suitors are going to say this guy has to make this happen. So why should we make a move?
Danny's not going to make a move for Hovey. He's not going to feel pressure. He's already told you essentially what happened, right? That Gordon Hayward wanted to go to Charlotte, and there wasn't really anything that they could do about it. So he's in his mind, it's great that they got an exception. And if they use it, even better. But he's not going to use it just for the sake of using it. We know that in exceptions, I hate to say it, many of them have expired over the course of trade exceptions being around. So, I mean, I really hate to break it to Celtics fans who think that, Larry Bird's walking through that door. But, there's a good
I would love Aaron Gordon. If Aaron Gordon is given away for just the trade exception and a pick.
This is unreal.
That's a different story. But if you have to roll in assets to make something like that work, I don't know that works for you, unless you're talking about a player we haven't even considered yet.
Exactly. That's why it will be if he doesn't use it for like depth, at the deadline or whatever. If they're trying to make a run like you think they might be able to, Josue, maybe use it for that reason. But if not, he's going to hold on to it for the offseason and see what team emerges that is looking to, rebuild or something of that nature.
Well, that's where they'd be anyway.
You guys really hate Rudy Gay, though?
No, somebody mentioned in the chat, Buddy Hield. He's too expensive.
Yeah, he's at what, 23 or something?
He's a hefty price tag. I'm not even sure you want him at that price. Yeah,
you already have your Buddy Hield. You have your Buddy Hield, right? And
the reason why stop it, Jimmy, don't do that. The reason why people are saying that is because Sacramento has to do something. They got a log jam there, not just on the court, but on the book.
This is why
Buddy Hield's being mentioned.
John's in the top left here, waving the Romeo Langford flag. Jimmy's down there with Aaron Naismith. That's unreal. You guys bash the young
how many times are going to explain the same thing?
I thought Jimmy was being facetious.
I know they are.
If those guys show value to the Celtics,
then you trade them.
They will not trade them for one of the guys we mentioned.
Yeah,
they may trade them for somebody we haven't talked about yet. But if they show value here, you're never going to just throw them in as filler in a deal for one of the people we mentioned to come in as
first guy. Yeah,
you're never looking at one of these washed, corner, one of these wings that can come in and help the bench, because that's what the Celtics need. They need to address that wing position. They need someone, a veteran, someone, an established player.
I'm saying
not Javante or Shemi. No disrespect to those two guys, but they need a more established guy in this league. Someone coming off the bench.
If there's someone you really want that's going to require a package like that, you do it. There'll certainly be other options here. I've kept my eye on.
I don't think Rudy would require giving up a first-round pick that you just drafted. I don't think.
Eric Gordon.
Stop talking about Rudy Gay.
Eric Gordon would have.
I'm sorry, man, but we got here, Jimmy. Like realistically, teams are going to give you. Teams are going to give you. Oh, here's our best shooter that we've had the last couple of years.
No kidding. I know that.
No, that's the thing is everybody has warts. Much like again, Miles Turner has warts.
JJ Redick. Are you kidding me? On this team, I'd love him.
Yeah, sure. And that's another option. You could bring in multiple players, and that's what we started off talking this about. Use that to absorb multiple salaries from a team if it comes to that.
Danny was talking about like he had 4 players in mind. It seemed like.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. But where we're at now, and whether they did the Indiana trade, or this, the better spot that they're in this year is they can match salaries in a trade now. Last year they couldn't do any trade that they could imagine because they didn't have the salaries to do it. Now you have as much as $30 million to match, so you're in a better place inherently, no matter what assets you think you have, because you can actually mathematically do any trade that you want to, which is good. Now you might not think you have the stuff to get it done, but at least you can do it if you get to that place.
Okay. Let's I got to pay some bills here. We got to do the long read. We got to let the folks at home know about our sponsor for this season. Yep, our sponsor. They're here with us. We could be here all season long. Manscaped.
Well, we gotta sell some, and then they'll re-up. So everyone, listen up.
We're doing our best.
Stuff those stockings, kids.
Right.
Christmas is coming, guys. So, yeah, Christmas is coming. Here to remind you, take your biggest grooming and hygiene needs from head to toe with the all-in-one Manscaped Performance Package Kit, okay? So for your most aggressive hair below the waist, Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer is a must. Manscaped goes one step further, released the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. They've got the Performance Package, which includes the Crop Preserver, which is deodorant for foot powder, the foot duster. If you want to smell good everywhere, there's Manscaped cologne. On top of that, there's a shed travel bag where you carry all of your goods. Anti-chafing boxer briefs that hold the entire package together. And all you really need to do to get this going is go to manscaped.com and enter the code GARDEN20. What's up, Jimmy?
Sorry, I'm listening.
Enter the code GARDEN20.
What do you got, Jimmy? You got a funny text or something? What happened?
No, he's just crushing the read, man.
You get 20% off and free shipping with the code GARDEN20 at manscaped.com. Once again, manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping. Use the code GARDEN20. Guys, you want to put a bow on this trade exception conversation before we move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
What do you got? So, again, dream scenario. Of all of the players who have been mentioned out there, and again, whether it's now or mid-season, pick a player or need.
Or don't just ran away.
Gone.
He was like, I'm out.
I'm sticking with Gordon, and I explained it already. The situation in Orlando, the fit. He's sort of a 4-style player.
I like the athleticism too, as well, for sure.
And they asked Andy about building.
He'll play 4 here.
Yeah, and he's still a wing. So you have the 3 wings, and you keep that thing going that you want to do here. And again, untapped potential there. He's played on a team his whole career that's just defense, defense, defense. You unlock some of his offense here playing with other players. He's on a bigger deal. It's not a Buddy Hield-like deal, but you'd be picking up enough salary so you're going into the tax getting him. But I think he's someone you could reasonably say completes this core with the other 2.
I like him too, but if you're going into the tax, do you prefer him or Hield?
Him. More versatile, more room for growth. I think Hield.
You talking about Barnes?
No,
Gordon. The other Gordon, not
Aaron. Aaron, not Eric.
I'm taking Hield.
You like the shooter?
Yeah,
too expensive, not enough, and not enough upside there. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't love his price tag. I'm with you on that. But for what this team needs and what he could bring, yeah, I think that would be ideal.
I think he plugs in where Hayward left too, and he's cheaper. There's upside there. He's had a little bit of an injury history, which is concerning, but again, you get what you get with this.
Are there any other big names in that tier, Bob?
That's kind of where we're at when you're looking at the money available. Gordon's right at that number. I don't think you're going into the tax. He's 18-1 with 2 years remaining. Okay.
And it's going down, which is good too.
That's not terrible. It's just a matter of whether or not you need. I think the price here is very high. He's by far. You'd be talking about multiple first-round picks or other players on your team to get this deal done. It's not just for money. It's not a salary dump. So it then comes down to, again, the thing we were talking about with Jimmy is he's the best name in a vacuum, but to get him, you have to give something of value. And in order for that thing to have value, they have to show value for you first. So again, it's either Naismith comes in and lights it up and you're like, we got something, or it's Romeo on a bounce back and he starts looking good, which again, there might not be enough time for that to happen this year with
not
him.
This year.
But and multiple picks. That Gordon is not cheap. The money makes it work, but you have to give real things to get him.
The thing you can consider with Orlando too, though, is they have some bad contracts there too that they could try to get off their books, and that's what we think about when we think of this exception. You can absorb a lot of money. So let's say it's 18 for Gordon. You could take a Ross possibly in this deal. You could take a Mo Bamba, guys that they just don't want to pay, that they don't want to have on their roster anymore. Because let's look at the East. Where's Orlando fitting in this conference for years to come? They're not. Teams are getting better. Charlotte got better. You have Detroit on the come up somewhat. You Cleveland, like all these teams are just shooting ahead of them, it feels like. So you hope that they get in that desperate situation this year where they just want to offload money and start over and maybe tank for this next draft coming up.
Cool.
All right.
What else?
Well, we're moving on.
If you're waiting for something bigger, you're waiting for next offseason. And Josue already explained that's a big risk.
The biggest prize that fits within what they're talking about, like I said, is Gordon, which they can afford. But again, that's going to cost them assets, a lot of stuff that they might not even have it right now. They only have it if these guys play well. We keep saying it, but right now, I don't know how you even get that done just for the money. So you're looking at that second tier depth of guys who might come in off of your bench and provide second unit offense here, a little bit of wing depth, whatever it is you need, but not a game changing sort of talent here. Again, not unless you roll the dice into the offseason and something changes, where this is again where if your rookies, or if some of your younger players in year two or the rookies show serious value, you may be able to roll them up into something bigger that we haven't talked about yet. But right now, the list is very uninspiring, which again, I'm going to keep coming back to, Turner.
Please don't.
Yeah, it is what it is. It could turn into, at the end of the day, I think the Celtics fans who are like, we got the trade exception. I don't know if that's going to get you anything.
Imagine if this ends with a trade for Miles Turner.
Wouldn't that be funny?
That would be amazing. And I would say, suck it to all the Celtics fans who just said how bad he was, because now they're going to be singing his praise.
Oh my God, they'd be like, we got Turner. He's going to be so good under Brad.
Danny did it again. He got him anyways.
Would it be stunning? It wouldn't be stunning, would it?
No, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
It's a real possibility.
100% what would happen.
Funny.
Yeah.
It's funny nobody's mentioning it. And Jimmy, I love that. Celtics fans will be bashing him all this time as soon as he comes here. Like, oh, this guy's great. Just what we need. Anyway.
Bobby, there's no way to get him for the same reasons. There's no way they can use their exception for anybody else.
No
assets. Anything of value to get.
Unless Indiana desperately is like, I do not want to pay this guy. And I want the trade exception. And it's just a freaking hot potato you just keep passing around.
Right. Don't sleep on Indy. I'm telling you.